Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much to John McEachen, the Scottish Detectorist, for joining us today. John, how are you doing today?
It's a pleasure to be on, and yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Thankfully, it's got a little bit milder in Scotland, so we've had a real terrible spell of weather over since New Year, in fact, a lot of snow and a lot of ice. So I can now
Yeah.
get out digging again, which is
Yes,
important.
absolutely. Yeah. You are, I think, as I've seen a few times in some of the comments on your YouTube show, guys on the Dig Show, I'll be putting a link to that. After the event. If I do it right now, you guys will go there right now. But this is John, the Plough Zone hero, as far as I see it. Very good with authenticity and good for a reality check as well. It's not all gold coins and silver in Scotland, is it, John?
I wish it was, but no, if it was, then everyone would be doing it, I suppose. But no, yeah, I always say to people, it's very easy to misunderstand the effort that's involved in metal detecting because if someone sees an
Mm,
edited video of 30 minutes, they think, wow, this guy's just turned up, gone into a field and found X, Y, and Z. They don't see the 18 or the 24 hours of digging and finding not a lot
mm.
in order to produce that one 30-minute video.
One of the things I really like about your channel and indeed your Instagram as well, and just the general way in which you conduct yourself. In Scotland, the soil is, I believe, probably fairly acidic in places, and agricultural ploughing, like anywhere else, is constant. If items aren't found by detectorists and they become, say, partifacts because they're damaged beyond modern machinery, we lose that sense of knowing what the history was like, the belonging in Scotland. There's so many things left to uncover. What's your take on Scotland as a whole with the history? What was the cultural climate like over the medieval era?
Yeah, I mean, volatile would be the best way of saying it. We had a little bit of a problem with our neighbours. You might have heard of it,
Yeah.
England and Scotland. There was a little bit of rivalry there, and as a result of that, Scotland is dotted with castles, with fortifications, which aren't
Mm.
just medieval. I mean, they go back thousands of years. I mean, Scotland's got almost 50% of all the Bronze Age and Iron Age hill forts in the whole of the UK and Ireland are in Scotland.
Really? Wow.
The concentration of warfare, of invasion, is vast over a huge period of time.
Okay, so hang on. So are we talking about, in the Roman period leading up to medieval, are we talking about like isolated tribal sects or like warrior bands roaming, or were things a little bit more joined up across the land when there was a threat, such as, say, the English?
To a certain extent, there's a bit of guesswork to try and join the dots. But
Yeah.
the Romans reference multiple tribes in Scotland during the first, second, third, and fourth centuries. The best known of them all are the Picti, which
Yes.
was the Latin name that the Romans gave the tribes in the far from basically the central belt of Scotland to the north. And
Hmm.
Picti means the painted people because they were using dyes and woads and they were tattooed, and the Romans referred to them as the painted people. That was in the third century, but in the fourth century they start to mention the
Mm.
Scotti, which is the Gaels coming over from Ireland and settling on the west coast. Um, and
Ah.
and the understanding is, or the belief is that Scotland begins to become unified as one country under effectively what we call the first king of Scotland. It was a man called Kenneth MacAlpin.
Yep.
And Kenneth MacAlpin in 843 AD, to be very precise,
Hmm.
he effectively unifies and Gaelifies much of Scotland.
Interesting.
That's when we have sort of one monarch,
Yeah.
with obviously a few people who weren't so keen on him. Um,
John, I've got to test out my Scottish knowledge for a second. I might be hopelessly wrong, so sorry, guys, by the way. So does Argyll translate to uh east of Gaelic? Like East Gaelic? Is that what it re means, Argyll?
you've put me on the spot. It's a good question, and
Yeah,
I would be guessing if I gave you the answer. But
fine.
But
It's good. Well, someone in chat can do that. Um, I'm interested in learning more about Scottish history and how important it was at these tribal sects. I think that basically what we're getting across here is that yeah, communication is key. It's very tricky, but they would unite under a specific cause, and that's why we have the Picty and other places as well. Further south in England, we know that a Carnyx has been discovered,
yeah,
which I'm putting on screen right now. These are depicted on just a very small number of objects as well, because of course I've never written anything down, unfortunately,
yeah.
and so it's really fabulous to see a really good example of one.
There is one in the National Museum in Scotland, which I believe was the first example ever found in the UK. I think there's now only been three ever found in the UK, but
Yeah,
I believe the one that's just been found in the southeast of England is the best example that's ever been found in Europe, potentially,
yeah.
because they do exist in France and such like. But yeah, it was called the Deskford, I think it was in Aberdeenshire that it was discovered
Oh, right.
that trumpet. But on the subject of Albert's, my friend Albert, who found that stunning, it's like a
Mm.
stylized oxen or bull.
I'm showing it now.
The museum rather distastefully call it a bucket mount, which I think is doing it a disservice because
Yeah.
it's a work of Celtic art and it's by far the best metal detecting find that I've ever seen come out the ground in
Yeah.
almost 26 years. And
I love your reaction, by the way, to the video, just to cut you up, sorry. When you're standing there,
what you
look
got?
investigating one of your own signals
Yeah,
and your
it
friends
looks
waving at you, I'd have been running. But you were
yeah.
very, very cool and calm and I wonder what he's got.
Yeah, there's been to be fair to Albert, there's been a few false dawns in the past, so I wasn't expecting something 2,000 years old, I'll be honest. And at that time as well, he'd only been metal detecting for like 5 months,
Yeah.
which was staggering. Um,
Absolutely. You
and
often say in your videos and I think you were at Detectival last year, but you often say that every signal tells a story. Is there one object that you've found over time that you think kind of has rewritten what you knew at least about local Perthshire history? Is there any specific thing here? Because you're a bit of a citizen archaeologist as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned.
well, you know, I've got a bit of knowledge. Whether I use that productively and properly is another story. But yeah, I think we've been fortunate that we've found quite a number of Roman coins. Now, Perthshire
Mm,
is actually, a lot of people think Hadrian's Wall, the Romans came as far as the north of England and they stopped. But they came into Scotland. They were here over multiple centuries, and we've been fortunate to find quite a number of Roman silver denarii, which were quite incredible. I've actually just got a letter today from the King's Remembrancer, which I
all
got
right.
via email, which is for two Iron Age items, which I actually found the same day or a couple of days around when Albert found the bull, the bucket mount.
Right.
So they're from the same field. So they're both going to be going to Perth Museum, which is the local museum. So they were asking for my bank details to send me some money, which is nice.
That's great.
Um,
That's the kind of letter I want from a
yeah,
department which sounds like they made it up in 10 seconds flat, doesn't it?
yeah. There was one other thing which really I got very recently. I think about maybe 4 months ago. It's
Uh-huh.
the oldest metal object that I've ever found. I found a Bronze Age flat axe head, very,
Wow.
very
Nice.
small, only about that size. But what's really amazing about it, and what completely and utterly made me fall to pieces, was that it's amongst the first ever metal tools that ever came to Scotland.
Okay,
So,
interesting. So
so
this is so guys, showing it on screen now. I've done loads and loads of work on Bronze Age methodology and the routes taken for tin and other resource and things like that. So to see the early Bronze Age period objects is really, really exciting. There's lots of power stave axe heads and things like that, and they're all fantastic in that, and they tell a fantastic story. But you've obviously found something pretty unique there. Have you got anything on the table in front of you? I'm dead keen. They don't want to hear about me. They want to hear about you.
I do. Unfortunately, you caught me at a bad moment in terms of finds because I was at the museum just before Christmas and I think I handed over 350 items.
Here's something.
This is a very special coin for me.
That's lovely.
Which is
great
my
patina.
first ever Roman denarius that I found.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, and how long ago did you find that?
This was probably about, I want to say about 19 or 20 years ago.
Geez, wow, that's lovely, isn't it?
And it dates to the time of the Roman conquest of Scotland or their first attempts. So it's Vespasian, so it's 69 to 79 AD. So who knows? Could have come with a legionnaire on his travels to Scotland.
Oh, I don't believe it. Look at that. Oh, that's a beautiful hammered coin. Oh my God, that's an old one. That is an old one.
How do you think, like, we as people could better bridge the gap between hobbying and archaeology? Is it, are we talking, if you find something, you don't know what it is, report it. If you find something you do know what it is, report it and maybe share it socially with other people as well so they can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is the most important thing, sharing of information. People have got to be as transparent as possible. For example, Albert's Bull is a prime example. And we got multiple other Iron Age Celtic period finds from the same site. And it suggests that there's a fort or a settlement there, which is completely unknown.
Yeah.
And as you were saying earlier about the soil and the agricultural work that happens on the soil, it was surely just a very short period of time before that bull was broken in half or completely destroyed. And
yes,
so very much so, it's about sharing the information, and very much social media is a great thing for that now too, because it gives people an opportunity to see these finds without necessarily having to go to a museum, because otherwise they wouldn't have the opportunity.
A bit of show and tell for a final. Pick out something in front of you and let's have a look.
Well, no one ever forgets their first gold hammered. If you've been lucky enough to find one. This is, and again, tell me if I need to come in a little bit closer or further away, but
that looks good. I like that.
Yeah, a quarter gold noble of Richard II. Which I found in England. I actually found it at I think the second detectiveville that we ever went to.
Wow.
And so I think it's about 1377 to 1399, give or take.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, at another detectiveville, you'll never believe it, I got another quarter gold noble, except this one is Edward. So this is Edward the Third.
Amazing. That's good. So you're the guy to follow.
Oh, well, I don't know. I think, to be honest, the first one, the whole weekend was terrible, and I found the gold coin in the last 30 minutes. And the second gold coin, as we drove into Detectiveville, having driven for almost 10 hours to get down to the south of England, my van broke down as soon as we pulled up at the tent. And I actually had to get my van recovered on a trailer all the way back to Scotland.
Wow. Okay.
So finding the gold coin made up for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely. Yeah, it's a little bit more than paying the parking, isn't it? Well, I guess it is paying the parking, depending on how you look at it. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I wanted to say thank you so much once again, John, for the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. What an episode. This has been a good one. Thank you so much, John.
It's been a pleasure.